my computer time is different from my phone time, so I'm not quite sure what time it actually is, but looks like some people are jumping on now, so welcome. My name is Christy Hillock, and I am with CJ Card Creations. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Murray, Utah. And tonight I'm going to be sharing the So Cool Paper Pumpkin Kit that came out this month. I'm actually not going to use the kit, I'm just going to use the stamp set and show you a few other fun things that you can do with it. So, before we get started, I have just a few things that I wanted to talk about. So this is the upcoming catalog. I know there's a glare on there. This starts on May 4th, which means that you only have a few more days to order anything that's retiring. So I guess the 3rd is Monday, so you just have through the weekend. So make sure that if there's anything you've been wanting, you get that. I can't show you the inside of this, but let me just tell you, hi Mom. Let me just tell you that I bind my catalogs like this, all the annuals. I don't do it with the minis, but this spiral binding makes it so much more pleasant to look through the catalog because it stays open instead of flopping closed. So I highly recommend it. I did it at FedEx. I've done it at Office Depot before. It's like $5, no big deal. And then they put these clear sheets on them, and then this one did a black, oh, not supposed to do that, black on the back. And so just keeps it a little more protected. So I really recommend that. So then the next thing, this is the Paper Pumpkin Flyer. And if you've never gotten Paper Pumpkin before, they are a handy, everything you need in a box, including your adhesives. Hey Janie, the first time that you get one, you get a D-size block, which is a little bit smaller than this one, just a square block. So all of the photopolymer stamps that come in future Paper Pumpkins, you're ready to go. You get the adhesives, you get an ink spot. It's just a little bitty square ink for the one color that you need for the kit. And over the course of the year, they try to not duplicate colors so that you end up with a nice assortment of colors if you maintain a subscription for a while. And if you would like to sign up with that, if you've never tried it before, there is a link in the description of this video that you can click and it will take you to the sign up information. They also do prepaid memberships in 3, 6, or 12 month increments, and that is a really great deal, especially if you do it during Celebration, which is coming up in August, I think. So anyway, this brochure shows what projects you're making, and so this makes 12 cards. And then it gives you instructions step by step. You've got this nice ruler. And then if you flip it over, it tells you exactly what your kit includes as well as the colors that go with it. And then it has some alternate project ideas as well. So that is pretty nice. This month's also included this flyer. The kit coordinates with the Ice Cream Corner Designer Series paper, which is gorgeous. I have had so much fun with it. And mine is all hatched to pieces, but I'll show you just a little bit of what was here, along with all sorts of other stuff. So this is like a waffle cone, which I thought was really cute. And then your ice cream cones, and then these ink blot kind of papers on the back side are just really pretty designs. And then you've got popsicles and green dots, which I think is really fun. I haven't cut into that one yet. And then these ice cream cones and little sprinkles. So really, really nice. Even if you're not jazzed about the ice cream aspect of it, the back sides are just absolutely gorgeous. So that is that. And every month my subscribers get an email, which includes my subscribers and my downline get the email that includes 3 alternate projects that I've designed myself. And you can go online and find endless alternate ideas. So it's really fun. There's a lot you can do with these. Hi, Aunt Pat. with these kits, and sometimes you need a few extra supplies. Sometimes I try to keep it to just what's in the box, but this month I actually thought this kit was so great that I'm going to give it to my son because he loves crafting with me, and we really, since he started first grade, he just hasn't gotten to do it very much because he's pretty busy now. So I think he's going to be really excited to receive an entire kit just for himself. And so I used only the designer series paper, that Ice Cream Corner, and then some cardstock out of my stash. So that is what we're working on tonight, and I included in the description of this video all of the items that we're using. I think I tried really hard to get everything on there. And then there's also a host code, so if there is anything out of this that you would like to order, I would love it if you ordered from me using that host code. And I think that's it. So, a couple things I have coming up. I'm going to do a product share. What that is that you get a little bit of each of the new printed papers and a little bit of each of the new ribbons. So I'll be sending out information about that. And if you would like to join my mailing list, I would love that as well. And then I also have my May class to go coming out. I need to get everything posted and ready to go, but I'm going to be using the Pretty Perennials bundle. And so it's this beautiful stamp set, and this is a distinctive set, so you get a lot of that dimension that I've talked about before. And then you have all these beautiful dies, and mine are a mess because I just throw them back in the pouch. But anyway, that's what we're going to be using along with some designer series paper. So I think that's it. Yeah, so let's get started. Today, what I decided to do is make this little pop-up card. So it's nice and cute. It's a note card, so you can actually buy these note cards that are 3.5 by 5 inches, and they come pre-scored, and then they have their coordinating envelopes, and ours is going to pop up today. So that's what we're working on. And we actually get to play with a little bit of new product. I can't show you the inside of the catalog, but I can show you the product that I actually have. So this is called the Scalloped Contours Dies, and they will be available starting on May 4th, which is next Tuesday. So they've got flowers that go with the stamp set that it's bundled with. And anytime that we have a bundle, that saves you 10% if you bought them separately. So this is the stamp set, and the sentiments are really nice, and the fonts are fun, kind of handwritten. So I think that's going to be great. But what I really loved about this is all of these dies, some of them are dot stitched and some of them are line stitched, and then this one is a little bit longer lines, and then this scalloped one, and then this will be just a really nice border for, you know, all sorts of different projects. So that, I think, is going to be a must-have coming up. So to make this card, like I said, you just get the pack of note cards to get started. And honestly, it just doesn't get better than this when you have everything ready to go. You don't have to cut cardstock or figure out your card size or any of that. But it does help if you have a bone folder, which mine was buried, so. Okay, so there is our card base. So the first thing that we're actually going to do is take the Stampin' Trimmer, and I'm going to turn mine sideways so that I can see what I'm actually doing. But essentially, I want to come about halfway down the card. So since it's 5 inches, 2.5, so we're going to go right here, and then we're going to score it 3/4 of an inch on both directions from the score line. Let's see, that's not 3/4 though. You'd never know I was an accountant, because math, especially when it comes to measurements and things, it's just a little bit tricky. So I'm going to go 3/4 of an inch either way from that score line. And then I'm actually going to move my cardstock so I started at the 2 1/4 mark here, and now I'm going to go to the 2 3/4 mark and just do the same thing. So 3/4 of an inch to the score line, and then another 3/4 of an inch. So now that we've got that, we are done with the trimmer. But that is why the trimmer is so nice, because it just is really great for any of those kinds of little cuts that you need to do. So you can see we just have this strip now in the center, and what I actually want to do is pop that through so that it folds the opposite direction of the rest of the card. And then we will close the card, and I'm just going to burnish those edges there because I didn't actually score them, but I want them to be pretty crisp. All right, so that is what your card is going to look like once it's ready for the pop-up. Now the next thing that we're going to do is take, this is the next to largest of those dies, and I think that looks pretty good. So let's see, I don't really want to use my liquid glue because with that hole in the card I can create a big problem. So we're going to use some seal for this, and I'm sorry I keep bumping the table because I've got boxes of catalogs underneath and it's a mess. But it reminds me, if you want a catalog for me, please let me know. I would love to get one to you. So I actually cut this piece today from a panel that had already been embossed with the subtle embossing folder, and it is absolutely one of my favorites, and it's retiring, which breaks my heart. So I figured might as well use it while I still can. So just going to finish getting a little bit of the seal on here. And with the adhesives, it honestly doesn't take as much as you might think, unless it's a 3-dimensional project, and then you do tend to want a little bit more. All right, so there is that. Now the next thing is that I've cut this little piece of designer series paper, and this is from the Ice Cream Corner. And the dimensions on that are 2.5 by 3 7/8. So we're just going to adhere this right on top there, just kind of centered in that stitching. Okay, now the next thing is I've got, this is another one of the dies, and this is Purple Posy, just because it went nicely. The other color that I considered was this one, and since it's watercolored, I just wasn't as happy with the coordination for what this project was trying to do. So, all right. So I think this one's really fun because the scalloped pieces come up like that, and I decided I wanted to really take advantage of that. So what I'm going to do is, if I can find glue dots here. So these are actually left over from a paper pumpkin kit. And they are just so handy. So I'm going to get those. And then this is the Blackberry Bliss striped ribbon. That is gorgeous. I think Blackberry Bliss is one of my favorite colors if I'm looking for something a little bit richer. It is really dark, so you can definitely go overboard, but I'm glad you like this paper. It's really been a lot of fun to play with. So now I'm running my ribbon through these little bits on the edge, and then I just want to make sure that that is straight. Well, helps when you don't drop things. So again, run this through here and put it on those glue dots, and voila, you have your ribbon. So we could have stamped it first, but we didn't, and it's fine either way. But I definitely don't want to put it on the card before I stamp it. So I'm going to go ahead and take my Memento black ink here. And one of the sentiments in the stamp set, and I didn't even show you the whole thing, but it's so cute. It's got a watermelon slice and a popsicle, and happy birthday, you're so cool, way to go, and then we're going to use this hey there. So I'm just going to stamp this in the top corner here. Theoretically, that's going to be straight. It's good enough. All right, and then I'll set this off to the side, and we're just going to finish up our stamping really quickly. So I also want to decorate my envelope, and so I'm going to go ahead and stamp this popsicle just there. And I'm going to show you a trick about this here in a minute. And then I have some scratch paper, or just scraps of it, that I'm going to stamp the popsicle again. And this I'm just going to color and then cut out, so the stamping, you know, can be crooked and whatever. So I think go just like that. And so I did color all three of my popsicles pretty much the same. You certainly wouldn't have to do it that way, but I just decided to, you know, keep it simple. Sometimes I overthink things. So this is the Blackberry Bliss blend, and our blends come, they're alcohol markers, and they come in sets of 2. And for whatever reason, these plastic lids don't look like they match, but they do. So you have a light and a dark in each set. And for this one, I am just going to use the light. And you also have the brush tip like that, and the bullet tip. So the bullet tip's great for precision coloring, or if you're really doing a lot of detailed kind of work. I am feeling like this doesn't have to be perfect because I'm going to cut it out anyway. So I'm just going to use the brush tip and just really lightly just kind of color over the whole thing. And we'll do the same thing down here. So the deal with alcohol markers is that you have to use a water-based ink so that they don't mix and bleed, make the ink bleed on the stamp. And so that's why I chose Memento for this project. Now the next thing that I want to do is color this popsicle stick. And so for that I'm using the dark soft suede. And that one I am just going to use my bullet tip here. So we went to Jonah's soccer game today, and I wasn't going to go because it cuts it really close to doing my Facebook Live, but he kind of made me feel sad, and we're doing that big garage sale and stamping event on Saturday, and so I'm not going to get to go then, and so I just decided to go ahead and go. And it was gorgeous, and he got to play goalie, and he was so excited. He had so much fun, so that was really cool, because he's not a very aggressive kid, so I was kind of surprised that he was excited about diving for the ball over and over, but anyway, it was fun. So this is our color lifter, and I don't actually think I put this in the description, but I am going to use it. So the other nice thing about these brush tips is that you can flick them, which sounds kind of funny, and it's a really subtle effect on this with the color lifter, but you can also do it with the, you know, any of the colors. And so you just take the cap and then go like that, and it gets kind of this speckled look there. So we'll do that, and then I'm going to do it with the color lifter too. And again, super subtle, and it's really hard to see whether you're even accomplishing anything. But with the color lifter, it kind of evolves. The color, you know, like changes over a minute or two. So I'm just going to get a little bit more. This will just give me a nice speckled look here. So while that is, so I made a mess. And I actually got the inside of the card too, which is fine. Good thing it coordinates. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut this off. And I'm sorry, you guys are going to have to watch me fussy cut 2 of these tonight, but it'll be okay. So my trick is, and I was hoping this piece would be big enough. I think it is. I'm just putting some cardstock in here to protect the back side of the envelope, if that makes sense. So if you look, it bled through a fair amount, and that was just with a very little bit of coloring. So I don't want it to bleed through onto the back side of my envelope. So I'm just going to color this again here. And so the really nice thing about where Murray City does all of the soccer games, because this is like a city rec league that we're playing in this year, it's on school, you know, grassy areas, which means that there's always a playground. And so it's fairly easy to entertain Emily. Although today, you know, she's 2.5, but that girl has a mind of her own, and she tore off. She didn't like the first playground, and so she tore off to the playground that we are usually at, and was, so DSP is designer series paper. So she wanted to go to the playground that she's used to, and she just marched herself right through another soccer field and went off to do her own thing. And so, you know, there were a couple parents like, where is this kid coming from? But anyway, when I got over to her and asked her what she thought she was up to, she told me to go away. So she clearly had it under control. But all right, so that is the front of our envelope. And other things that I sometimes do are to decorate the flap of the envelope with designer series paper. I think that that gives a really fun look too. But today we're just gonna keep it simple with the stamped image. So, oh, I'm sorry. I'm so bad about the abbreviations because designer series paper is really cumbersome once you've said it a couple of times. But what I'm doing now is just gonna fussy cut with my paper snips, these little popsicles. And so when you're fussy cutting, and I'm not great at it, and it's not really my favorite thing to do, but these popsicles are a pretty easy image to do it with. You don't want to move your scissors so much as you want to move the paper. So I'm just getting right up against the line. Sometimes I'll leave a halo of the, you know, the underlying cardstock color, and that is fine too. Just kind of depends on what your mood is, I guess. The other thing with that halo is that you, if you're anything like me, will be driven crazy by the fact that it is not perfectly even all the way around. And let me just tell you, nobody else cares and nobody else notices. So just let that free you up to enjoy it a little more than you might otherwise. All right, so there is the first popsicle. And I mean, it is double-sided, so that's not unreasonable, but yeah, designer series sounds so much fancier. So, and you just want to cut off all the excess so that it's not in your way as you're doing this. All right. So my little nephews are on this same team as Jonah, which is awesome. I mean, they're all three super motivated to play and practice together, and it's cute. But we were sitting there at the game today, and my sister was watching, and I'm not even sure which of her sons it was, but she looks over across the field, and he's wandered off with one of his buddies because the two of them weren't on the field right then. They were just waiting to get put in, and so she had to go grab them and return them to their coach so that they'd be ready when it was their turn to play. But I thought that was funny. They're such cute little 7-year-olds. So, okay, we are done, and I'm just gonna get rid of that mess. Okay, so next what I want to do is take a couple of my mini dimensionals here, and I'm going to put one in the little popsicle stick, and then I guess, you know, you can have too many, but I don't think that 4 on this is going to be too many, so we're going to go ahead and do that. I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to be putting dimensionals right on top of the ribbon because it adds it makes it a little, you know, less even, I guess. And that's kind of one of the nitpicky things that I don't necessarily think you actually have to pay attention to either, but that's how I roll. So, okay, there is that. And now we're just going to glue this onto our card. And that's just the Tombow liquid glue. And when I first started crafting, I did not use that. I was terrified that I would make a big mess, and I do sometimes. I mean, yeah, like it came through a little bit there, but that's okay, because for the most part, it dries clear. If it's a little more obvious than you would like, you can get these awesome adhesive erasers, and they look really gross, but you can cut off the parts that are not, you know, new anymore and just keep whittling it down until there's nothing left. And so I do use that a fair amount as well. Okay, so we have that finished, and somewhere I had rhinestones. Oh, there we go. Oh, Janie, that's awesome. And Doug, I love that she could slice it that thin. I'm much more of the here's half the cake, enjoy. So, partly because, you know, I really like dessert, and partly just because it's hard to slice it that thin. So here we go again with figuring out placement on these little things, and I'm just using my take your pick tool. And I did 1 large and 2 of the little rhinestones, and I think that we'll just go with that. Okay, now for the cool part on the pop-up. So when you open your card, it will, you know, just lay flat eventually, but as it's opening, you have this cute little popsicle popped up. And you can make this as big as you want. I just chose to make it, you know, just the 3/4 of an inch, so it's a little bit subtle. And all I'm going to do is take some of this liquid glue again and put it just on, you know, the one side of it there. And we'll set this on there. And so as we let it sit and kind of dry before I close everything, you can see the dark speckles, and you can also see, I think you can see it in the video. Let me bring it up to you. You can also see the lighter speckles from the color lifter. So it's just, you know, makes it not look so flat. So I think that that is everything. So what do you think? Was that a fun little kind of different way of using those popsicles and the note cards and everything? I hope that you liked that. And if you haven't already signed up, the May Paper Pumpkin, you can sign up through May 10th. You'll make 9 cards in that kit, and it is called Batter Up. It goes with, oh, thank you guys for all the hearts. You're so sweet. It's a baseball theme, and so it's got kind of a deep yellow, a navy, and a red, and some gray. I think you're going to love it. And it also comes with the official MLB bubblegum, and I will be doing something similar to this with that kit next month. So, all right, well, thank you all for joining me. I hope you will make something similar and share it on my page, and have a wonderful evening. And thank you so much for being with me again tonight. I will talk to you soon. Okay, bye.